Please come in. You're right on time. The door only opens when the clock strikes midnight. Georgia and Hannah are preparing to broadcast from the belfry. Just like this old bell tower, they have many stories to tell. Some old and some new. Follow me up these stairs, but mind your step. They're waiting
Thank you.
for you.
Recording in progress.
Recording in progress.
Okay.
Are we progressed?
We're progressed. We're progressed. So
Progresso soup?
salty.
Okay. Oh, I see. Wow, that was a circuitous route.
Thanks.
Oh man, I can't stop thinking about doing a little grilled cheese and soup moment. I
Yeah,
want it.
that's what we had for dinner on Thursday. Last
Hell yeah.
night, I didn't want to do anything. I got two things of the crack.
The Cracker Barrel mac?
Was it the Cracker Barrel? It wasn't the Cracker Barrel. It was like the Target brand one. Um,
Or
but yeah, the ones that you just put in the microwave, you know. I got two of
yeah.
those. And at first, I was like, okay, here's two of these. We'll eat one tonight and then we'll have one for some other time this weekend. And then
Uh,
Shannon heated up both of them and ate a whole one.
yeah.
And I was like,
He's a
all right,
growing boy.
all right. But I also had an edible, so I ate like three-fourths of one.
There you go.
Uh,
That's a winner.
and it was a great time. And I was so relaxed last night that I fell asleep on the couch at 10 o'clock and I slept until 10 o'clock this morning.
Fuck yeah.
Oh, we also started watching. Have you seen Smiling Friends on HBO?
I have seen the banner for it when I pull up HBO to go watch The West Wing.
It's so you'll love it and hate it, I think, at the same time. Sometimes there's one episode where I was just like, "Oh, I absolutely hate this." And there are like
God.
certain parts in episodes where I'm like, "Oh, I hate that." But it's very like off-putting humor,
Uh-huh.
but it's very funny and it's very
Uh-huh.
random. Seth will like it, I'm sure as
Oh
well.
boy. So I'm probably gonna hate it. Good.
Uh, th- uh, I mean, I think it's funny, so you will probably think it's funny.
I hope so. We'll see.
Uh, yeah, Shane and we just kind of like look at each other. Like, I have this look on my face that I don't have when I watch anything else. I'm just like,
Hmm. You're a smiling friend or
like,
whatever.
it's just so shocking sometimes. Anyway, you should watch it. It's funny. And the
Okay.
episodes are 10 minutes, so
Oh yeah. I could do
yeah.
that, no problem. Will I? I don't know. I've got The West Wing to watch.
Yep, you sure do for the 17th time.
Although the new season of The Diplomat is coming out on Netflix soon. So I'm gonna be watching that.
I think we are gonna renew our Netflix here soon because there's a lot of stuff on Netflix that I want to watch for Halloween.
Yeah, like Fall of the House of Usher,
Yeah. And
which came out 2 years ago.
Shannon wants us to watch The Ritual.
Oh, okay.
And there's other stuff on Netflix. I have a whole list. It's fine. All right.
All right.
It's true crime time
Hell
again.
yeah.
Um,
Let's go.
let's go. This is a bit graphic in some places, I will say.
Hey, it's fine.
Also, a lot of these notes are from ye olde days. And Brandon himself wrote a lot of them.
Okay.
So
It's gonna be pretty fun.
there's a lot of like, oh, okay. Oh, Shannon has to go to Bruce's house because he gets initiated into the Masons on Thursday.
Hell yeah.
But yeah, so there's a lot of like really fun little I don't know, things that Brandon has thrown in here. So
Okay.
I will be sure to point them out because I don't want to take credit for his creativity.
Okay. I'm ready.
So I'm going to tell you today about the biggest police investigation in the history of Cleveland.
Yay, Cleveland.
The
Woo!
Cleveland, the land of Cleves.
The land of Cleves. Anne of Cleves.
In 1929, the Great Depression swept the nation, and Cleveland was no exception. Jobs dried up, and destitution was rampant. The American dream seemed to be taking its last breath. This is Brandon. It's been
Hmm.
100 years and it's still not dead. Can we put it out of its misery, please? As more people became homeless and jobless, they began to assemble small shanty towns in metropolitan areas, referred to colloquially as Hoovervilles,
Hmm.
named as a jab at President Herbert Hoover, who was generally blamed for the poor state of the economy at the time.
Crazy.
The first thing I think of when I think of a Hooverville is that one episode of Doctor Who.
Oh, I think of Whoville,
But, oh,
like Dr. Seuss. So another doctor
they're
thing.
both doctors. Yeah,
Yeah.
no, the one with the Empire State Building and the Daleks
Yeah.
and Spider-Man. Yeah. So the Hoovervilles in Cleveland were clustered mostly in Kingsbury Run and an area known as the Flats, which was an industrial area next to the Cuyahoga River, full of poor, sickly people who had no registered address of residence, who had fallen to the fringes of society. All of this colorful language is Brandon.
Hmm.
This made it difficult for them to be located or identified. I'm sure nothing bad will happen to them. In addition to Hooverville being cluttered and chaotic in form, they also tended to pop up near train yards, and many people would hitch rides in and out of town to seek less bleak prospects elsewhere. Bleak Prospect is a wonderful Call of Cthulhu campaign designed for the Great Depression where everyone
My.
plays people living in a Hooverville.
Mm.
And so like your credit rating is literally zero and you have very little luck to start with and it's a bad time.
Yeah, it doesn't sound all that great. But
No.
hey.
And there's like a disease infecting the Hooverville.
Oh, good.
But it's not a normal disease. Ha 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 ha.
It's a spooky one.
Um so yeah, if you know anything about true crime, you know this is the perfect hunting ground for a serial killer. Dun dun dun. In the 1930s, there were at least 12 victims believed to be killed by the same assailant who preferred to dismember the bodies of his victims.
Hmm. Hmm. Hmm.
Cleveland, Ohio was plagued by an anonymous slayer that came to be known as the Headhunter or the Mad Butcher of Kingsbury Run.
Such a cool name. I mean,
Yeah.
no, that's really bad.
I mean, it sounds very like
It's
noir, detective,
yeah,
drama.
it's very kitschy,
Yeah.
very of the time.
While the victims were dumped in Kingsbury Run on the east side of the city, the victims went missing from neighboring eastern districts known as the Roaring Third, named after the police precinct that oversaw the area, and Hobo Jungle, named
Hmm.
after the types of people that inhabited the area. Do you know where the term hobo originated?
No.
I mean, I looked it up and there are several theories, I guess. I've
Oh,
heard of one of them. So one is a post-Civil War truncation of homeward bound or homeless boy in reference to the men displaced following the Civil War.
Yes.
The one I'd heard was Ho boys, referencing migrant farm laborers who carried hoes. And one was a railroad greeting, like
Oh,
ho bo,
that's the one
Beau,
I know.
as in a handsome guy. Yeah, I'd never heard that one. So either way, hobo culture emerged following the Civil War when many men became migrant workers and traveled via the railroad. So, and that continued definitely through the Great Depression and probably both World Wars. And yeah. The hunting grounds of the butcher were ripe with establishments that attracted the less than upstanding members of urban environs.
My goodness.
Again, all branded. Gambling dens, bars, brothels, flop houses. Many transients and vagrants traveled to areas where casualties of the Clevelandian mutilator would be found.
Clevelandian? I think it's a Clevelandite.
That's what he wrote, so that's what I read.
Okay.
I would
That's so
I would
silly.
say Clevelander, but
Oh yeah, Clevelander. That's the one.
yeah. Although that doesn't really Clevelander mutilator, that doesn't have the same flow
Yeah.
to it.
Yeah.
The first unidentified victim would be called the Lady of the Lake, or Victim Zero, for reasons I will come back to. She was found on September 5th, 1934, on the Euclid Beach shore of Lake Erie
Mm-hmm.
in Bracknell. Is that how you say that?
It's probably right.
Anyway, her torso was found with thighs attached, legs amputated above the knee, no head, no arms. The skin of the torso was red and had a leather-like quality, leading the coroner to conclude that an unidentified caustic chemical had been applied to the skin, possibly as a form of preservative. Not to keep going back to Doctor Who, but that reminds me of the episode where Matt Smith gets dipped into the red stuff,
Mm-hmm.
where they go to that industrial utopia. She was also drained of blood. Since no fingerprints or dental impressions could be taken, the Lady of the Lake was never identified. And while this scene was shocking, things would only get worse.
Oh shit.
Oh shit.
By the way, you were right, it is Bretnall.
Okay. On September 23rd, 1935, so a year later, two bodies at different stages of decomposition would be found on the side of Jackass Hill, Teehee, um,
Gee.
by a pair of adolescent boys. I think this is where most people start this story
Mm-hmm.
because, well, we'll come back to that. Only one
Yeah.
would be correctly identified. He was a male with ligature marks on the wrists, implying he was bound. He was naked, save socks on his feet. The cause of death was decapitation, which was noted to have been done neatly, and his genitals were removed post-mortem.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
His severed head was buried next to his body, and he would later be identified as Edward Andrassy, a man who lived 3 miles southwest of the dump site. His fingerprints were on file as he had a record of petty crime. He was 28 years old, and he worked as a hospital orderly and frequented the Roaring Third area. The second victim was never identified. John Doe number one. He was
Mm-hmm.
similar to the first in that he had been decapitated and his genitals had been removed. In both cases, the skin was red and leathery from chemical treatment, like the Lady of the Lake. So it was obvious at this point that her murder became associated with these two who had already been given the victim numbers one and two, hence her being victim zero. So she was kind of looped in after the fact.
Yeah, we don't want to name her like victim 0.5 or some shit like that. That would be
Yeah.
callous.
Also worth noting is the fact that their heads were buried shallow enough that their hair was sticking up out of the ground,
Mm-hmm.
which is vile.
Yeah, just thinking about it kind of makes me want to throw up like a lot.
Yeah. Again, police knew
Ugh.
that decapitation was the cause of death. They saw no hesitation marks indicating to them that the killer was strong, not squeamish, and likely a man who knew what he was doing. Um, when I first wrote these notes, like 3 years ago, I watched an episode of Haunted History on Hulu. Well, when I was first working on this episode, Brandon obviously wrote a lot of these notes. But I was watching an episode of Haunted History on Hulu about this, and there was a paranormal investigator who said, based on their experiences in the area, that they believed the killer was a railway worker, someone with knowledge of the area, the strength to dismember a body, and the ability to hop on and off trains to avoid attention if needed. And we can come back to that, but I think I know who it was. Police also know that the victims were outcasts of society, people who won't be missed, people who were affected by the Depression, those living in the shanty towns and Hoovervilles or making a living on the railroad. At this time, they had no suspects and no ideas on motive, only this pattern. Corruption was also pretty rampant, which didn't help the
Shocker.
already ill-prepared police force. So, a couple months later, in December of 1935, I mean, again, they only have three bodies at this point.
Hmm.
Keep that in mind. It's early days. December of 1935, the mayor of Cleveland hired Eliot Ness as safety director, his primary role being police oversight. But Ness,
Hmm.
contrary to popular belief, had very little to do with the boots on the ground investigation and evidentiary work being conducted during the lifespan of this case.
Yeah, we know.
So,
Fucking Eliot
for
Ness.
for those who don't know, he was from Chicago, and he became the chief investigator of the Prohibition Bureau for Chicago. So his job was to enforce prohibition. He earned that title after he formed a team of agents called the Untouchables, and they targeted illegal stills and breweries in the area, which is part of what brought down Al Capone. But he only had that title for a year because then prohibition ended.
Hmm.
And that's when he took up this safety director position in Cleveland. It's also worth mentioning he gained a reputation in Chicago for eradicating a lot of the police corruption, and he never took bribes to turn a blind eye to seedy happenings, which is how he and his agents got the name the Untouchables. So, the following month, in January of 1936, the 26th of January, at 2315 East 20th Street, approximately 2 miles north of Kingsbury Run, the
Hmm.
remains of another body were found wrapped in paper and stowed in baskets throughout an alleyway along the Hart Manufacturing Building. A sloppily amputated pelvis, thighs, and right arm of a woman were found, but not the kind of surgical precision exercised in the previous murders. But the MO was apparent. Other remains were found 10 days later in an empty lot off Orange Avenue, but the head was still nowhere to be found. The fingerprints of the right hand would reveal the victim to be Florence Genevieve Palillo. She was a waitress and bartender and a known prostitute with a penchant for drink. And Braden, this is Braden, and more pseudonyms than there were pieces of her left in the end.
Oh,
That's morbid.
that's fucked up.
She resided on the outskirts of the Roaring Third, and the coroner declared her cause of death to be a slit throat. Her recovered remains were sent out of state to her surviving family for burial, and this is the first murder under Ness's watch. And he, like I said, not really want to get his own boots on the ground, puts his top guy on the job. This was Peter Merlo, despite the fact that they didn't get along and will never ever agree on anything. It's good, good team.
Very nice.
Okay. Fast forward to June 5th, 1936. That's 4 months later. A head was found by two young boys. You think it was the same two boys
Oh
from
God.
uh it's always two boys. I don't know. All the gruesome
Yeah.
things are found by two boys. I wonder if they went to
Mm.
counseling for the trauma. I wonder if they even got traumatized. It was the 30s. Things were gross all the time, probably.
Listen, I don't know. Probably, and then nothing was ever done about it because,
Yeah. This
you know.
head was found wrapped in the victim's trousers under a tree near the East 55th Street Bridge. And then a headless body was discovered about 200 feet away in front of the Nickel Plate Railroad Police Building. Ballsy. This would
Damn.
become John Doe number two, another unidentified victim. But he was nicknamed the Tattooed Man. For the record, he only had 6 tattoos. It's not like he was a sideshow attraction.
Yeah. He had
The
more than other people, I guess.
Yeah, yeah, I guess.
Whatever.
The body presented no other injuries, so no genital mutilation or dismemberment that characterized the previous victims. It was concluded that he was decapitated while alive and exsanguinated.
Yay!
Yeah. He didn't have
Disgusting.
fingerprints on file, so in an attempt to identify him, they made a plaster mold of his head for display, and they also made diagrams of his 6 distinctive tattoos, which were a butterfly, a cupid's heart, a dove accompanying the names Helen and Paul, crossed American flags, a comic strip character named Jiggs, and a cupid coupled with an anchor. And they displayed the plaster head and tattoo drawings at the Cleveland World's Fair
Hell yeah.
in hopes that the thousands of people passing by, at least someone would recognize the tattoos or his face. But despite the creative measures, an ID was never established. Fun fact, the Cleveland World's Fair was known as the Great Lakes Exposition because Cleveland sits on Lake Erie, but the Chicago World's Fair was on Lake Michigan, and Lake Michigan is way bigger than Lake Erie. So what the fuck, guys?
I don't know, man.
I mean, you had to make it about Columbus, really? Anyway,
It was
yeah.
pretty stupid, yeah.
No one recognized him, but in the Haunted History episode, one team of investigators went over to the 55th Street Bridge where his body was found. Excuse me. And one of them was asking questions about his tattoos, and they said they felt fingertips run over his arm where he also had a tattoo.
Hmm.
At this point, the cops were getting nervous because, they have all these people coming in for the World's Fair. They also have even more people coming in because the Republican National Convention was coming to Cleveland.
Boo.
So they have this massive influx of visitors to the city and a serial killer on the loose and no leads.
Okay.
Cracking police work. The next month, July 22nd, 1936, another headless body is discovered by a teenage girl out for a walk. This victim became John Doe number three. He was found lying in a wooded area near Clifton Road and Big Creek in Brooklyn Township, which is a suburb a few miles southwest of Kingsbury Run. The
Mm-hmm.
head had been severed cleanly by a practiced hand, but no other injuries were reported. His body was in a state of considerable decay, estimated that he had been dead for approximately 2 months, which made fingerprinting impossible, and his severed head was found nearby under a bush wrapped in his own bloody clothing.
Not buried.
No. The location was believed to have been the scene of the murder on account of the blood that was found on the ground. The advanced decay of his head also made discerning his original appearance unlikely. So, no plaster mold of this guy. Another 2 months go by, and then John Doe number four is discovered on September 5th, 1936. So it's been exactly 2 years since the Lady of the
Hmm.
Lake was found. When a passerby tripped over the upper portion of a severed torso on his way to hop a train on East 37th Street in Kingsbury Run. Considering the sprawling nature of the previous dump sites, a search of the area was organized. The lower half of the torso was discovered floating in a small pool. The lower legs and thighs were recovered from a nearby creek, and the arms and head were never recovered.
This is all a lot of fun
Yeah, no face,
to
no
hear.
fingerprints.
It's so cool and nice and soothing. It's music to my ears.
Good, 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 good.
Yeah.
The body count was steadily rising, and with one of the victims essentially on display at the World's Fair, it's no surprise that this newest victim attracted a significant amount of attention. It's estimated that over 600 people assembled to watch the recovery process. I mean, what were they going to do? Watch Netflix? The coroner's report noted that the cause of death was yet again decapitation, supposedly with a single clean swing. Cuts were noted on the kidneys and stomach, and the genitals had been removed in the usual style. No
Sad.
identifying marks were present on the body, so a reliable ID could not be made.
Yep.
And
Sounds about right.
at this point, a media frenzy was developing. Articles and editorials were coming. It's been 2 years. Why is it just now developing a media
I don't
frenzy?
fucking know.
Well, I do know the answer. It's because all of these were marginalized people. Uh,
Well, yeah, you're right.
uh,
I was gonna
artic-
say like, well, no, you got me there.
um, Articles and editorials were coming out daily. Public officials were beginning to feel pressured to act after 2 years. The mayor insisted that Eliot Ness take a more active role in the search and apprehension of this torso-centric madman. Thank you, Brandon. Um, the county coroner suggested forming what the media would come to call a torso clinic, a cohesive group of law enforcement and medical experts that might be able to build a kind of profile to help narrow down the search and catch the killer. So they're experimenting with a little profiling here. 20
Hmm.
years, 30 years before Mindhunter himself. Uh Peter
Jonathan
Merlot.
Groff, yeah.
Yeah, Jonathan Groff, yeah.
Sorry. Continue. Uh,
Peter Merlot and Martin Zalewski were made lead detectives on the case, and they set to work interviewing residents of Kingsbury Run and the Roaring Third. Um, Fast forward again to February 23rd, 1937. In the early afternoon, a man finds the upper torso of a young woman on the Lake Erie shore at the base of East 156th Street, again near Euclid Beach Park, where the Lady of the Lake was found. The
mhm.
lower torso washed up about 3 months later near East 30th Street, but no other portions of the body were reported to have been discovered. The cuts were made haphazardly and post-mortem. Lake water and gravel were found in the pleural cavities, indicating she drowned. So she became Jane Doe number two after the Lady of the Lake. Um, then, on the evening of June 6, 1937, a teenage boy found a human skull with a burlap sack containing accompanying bones under the Lorraine Carnegie Bridge. The skeletal remains were assessed to be that of a middle-aged black woman. The only known non-white victim of the butcher, maybe, Some people I don't think count this because serial killers don't tend to kill outside of their own race or deviate from an
Okay.
established pattern. And this doesn't really fit the other patterns. Investigation revealed that the victim had been decapitated and that she was missing a rib. Her teeth had gold fillings, which was a significant lead compared to many of the bodies found thus far. Again, a plaster likeness was made because that was so helpful last time. And a composite sketch was also done. And a young man came forward the following year declaring that she was his mother, Rose Wallace, and he claimed to recognize the dental work, but authorities did not consider this compelling enough to be a positive ID. So
Okay.
she is officially Jane Doe number three. Again, even though they're not necessarily directly associating her with this case, that one's a little messy. The next month, on July 6th, 1937, it's kind of like that confirmation bias again, right? Like, well,
Right.
we'll just kind of lump this one in because we don't know what else to do with it. So it
Yeah.
must be a victim.
It's gotta be.
The next month, on July 6th, 1937, the Little Steel Strike of
Oh,
1937 had begun.
Georgia, you're frozen.
You're frozen.
Fuck you, Zoom. Fuck you.
Great. Okay. Anyway,
Okay.
the next month, on July 6th, 1937, the Little Steel Strike of 1937 had begun. Laborers crossing the picket line to return to work, scabs as they were called, had rocks pelted at their vehicles. Tensions among the working class were high and violence was ongoing. The governor, oh God, ordered the National Guard in to help maintain the peace and
Uh,
to provide watch. That's how it's supposed to happen, in case anyone is
uh,
curious. Uh, the governor says, "Yes, I need help." Um, that's how that works.
my
Okay.
entire body just like gave up just now.
So a National Guardsman was posted at the West 3rd Street Bridge when he saw something strange floating in the wake of a passing tugboat, again on the Cuyahoga River. Upon inspection, it was a dismembered body part, as you may
Oh
have
my
guessed.
god.
Eventually, multiple parts of a man were collected from the river over the course of a few days. The torso was discovered in a burlap sack used for chicken feed, and once again the body was found to be missing a head, as you
Mhm.
may have guessed yet again. The unusual aspect of this particular victim was that his torso had been gutted and his heart had been removed.
Okay, yeah, that's different.
But again, no ID was ever made, so this was John Doe number five. The following year, April 8th, 1938,
Uh-huh.
um, a young worker en route to work in the flats noticed that something washed up on the banks of the Cuyahoga River and found the first piece of the next victim. A woman's lower leg was taken in for evidence. About a month later, more pieces were found around the West 3rd Street Bridge. A majority of her leg pieces had been found in a burlap sack, and her torso cut in two, also in a burlap sack. No head, no arms. The coroner,
Zach. Sorry.
the
Sorry.
coroner did find morphine in her system, but morphine at this time was a controlled substance and could only be obtained through a doctor or illegal means. And this became Jane Doe number four. So we have four John Does and four Jane Does at this point.
I thought you said five, John Doe. Well, I thought the last one was five.
Yeah, you're right. 5 John Does and 4 Jane Does.
Okay.
A few more months go by, then August 16th, 1938, so almost 4 years in at this point. Scrap collectors were picking through a dump site at East Ninth and Lakeside when they discovered their next victim. Their next victim, the next victim. It was
Yeah.
it was them the whole time.
It was them. I
The
saw them.
I told you I knew who did it. The police arrived to find a woman's torso wrapped in a men's blazer and then in a quilted blanket. The limbs and head, finally, were found, wrapped in butcher paper and packaged somewhat neatly together. The,
Oh,
co-
yay.
the coroner was surprised to find that some of the body parts showed signs of having been refrigerated and that the body had been treated with embalming fluid. Investigator Merlot would later voice his doubt as to whether this new body was actually a victim of the butcher because of the embalming fluid. While searching for other parts of Jane Doe 5 here, investigators stumbled upon the remains of yet another victim, a newly found male, disarticulated at the neck and all major joints. There was an unsubstantiated rumor that the man's head was placed in a large can. But the more interesting thing about Jane Doe 5 and John Doe 6 was that they were dumped with a clear line of sight from Eliot Ness's office window.
Oh, I did not know that.
And
That's awkward.
the timing of this discovery is interesting, but I'll come back to that in a little bit.
Okay.
It would be safe to say that Eliot Ness took this personally.
Oh,
Two
is this why? Oh, okay. Sorry.
2 days after the pair of bodies were discovered, 35 police loaded into vans and squad cars, accompanied by fire trucks, and conducted a midnight raid on the Kingsbury run Hooverville under Ness's direction.
Yeah.
By dawn, 63 men had been removed from their shelters so that authorities could search for any evidence that might provide a lead unimpeded. Nothing of value to the ongoing murder investigation was found, and upon concluding the search, Eliot Ness ordered the shantytown to be burned down.
Mm-hmm.
Ness was lambasted in the press for his callous impulsiveness and lack of results, and it's at this point that his life really starts to take a turn for the worse, which is hilarious, but we'll talk more about that later. The bodies stopped piling up after the raid in Kingsbury Run. No leads, no clues. Nearly a year passes before a man is arrested by the county sheriff, Martin O'Donnell. His name was Frank Dolezal. He's taken into custody for the murder of the fourth victim, Florence Polillo. He was a 52-year-old Slavic Bohemian immigrant bricklayer with an impressive butcher knife collection. He was rumored to frequent the disreputable bars near where many of the bodies were discovered, and he wasn't shy about making threats to those he felt had wronged him.
Mm-hmm.
He was alleged to have had affiliations with all of the victims that had been identified. He had lived with Polillo and was acquainted with Andersey and Wallace, unlike the modern police force that does not in any way abuse its power or authority at the expense of human decency. The police of 19 I can't even say it without laughing, sorry. The police of the 1930s were less constrained by regulation. Thanks, Brandon, for your social commentary. After detaining Dolezal for 2 days, they coaxed a confession for the murder and dismemberment of Florence Polillo. By coaxed, I mean they beat the shit out of him. The statements given during the 8-day parade of abuse were described as being incoherent ramblings at times and also neat and precisely detailed at others.
Oh, God damn it, Milo.
Milo, not the time.
Oh, it's too tense right now, buddy. He just fucking shoved his nose like in between my toes.
Milo, that's
Oh, Jesus. Okay. I'm fine.
unnecessary in any situation.
I'm normal. I'm fine.
Look at you just being perfect. Oh, you're so cute when you're staying in one place. Uh, okay. At his first arraignment, Dolezal's first-degree murder charge was dropped because he was denied legal counsel. At his second arraignment, he was held on manslaughter charges. Before the trial began, within a month of being held, Frank Dolezal was found hanging in his cell, dead.
Hell yeah.
Sounds a lot like Jeffrey Epstein, doesn't it?
Mm.
Anyway, I'll let you make your own conclusion here because he was only 5'8", but the bar he was hung from was 5 feet 7 inches off the ground.
Mm.
And the coroner's report showed that he had 6 broken ribs.
For those of you listening, Georgia and I just stared at each other for a good few seconds.
Like I said, it's weird. Suspicious, if you will. So let's go back to the weird timing of those 2 bodies found in view from Eliot Ness's window.
Okay.
3 months before they were discovered, in May of 1838, 1938, that should say 1938, Ness gives his prime suspect the option of being secretly interrogated at a fancy hotel or being publicly paraded in handcuffs as a suspect. His prime suspect was Dr. Francis Sweeney, who chose the hotel option, and he ended up being held for somewhere between 10 days and 2 weeks. During this time, he was given a lie detector test by the guy who literally invented the polygraph machine, Dr. Keeler. And he said he was so confident that Sweeney was guilty that he'd throw his machine out of the window if he was wrong. But as they are today, polygraphs were not admissible in court. And Francis had a cousin, Martin, who was a powerful enough congressman that he made sure that Francis was released and that he could not be arrested again.
Mm.
Some people do believe there was some hesitancy to say that the killer could be a doctor because of, this is shocking, classism.
Oh my God. Can you believe?
Can you even imagine? And it sounds like this was on Merlot's behalf. He didn't think Sweeney was the guy because he was a doctor. And a doctor would never do something like that.
Yeah, okay.
Cue
Rose up.
montage of all the doctors who have been convicted as serial murderers.
Mm-hmm.
Are we talking about one of those? No. Wait. Yeah, aren't you talking about? Or no,
Yeah, Richard Speck?
Richard Speck. He was a doctor,
Yeah,
right? Okay.
yeah.
Anyway,
Sorry. I had the list pulled up and I was just looking at it. I'm like,
are we?
are we? Where are we?
What time is it?
So
What year is it?
Oh God.
Anyway, okay. Yeah. Um, but the fact remains that Sweeney lived in the area his whole life. He had an office on Broadway near several of the dump sites. His wife took him to probate court in 1933 with complaints of heavy drinking and domestic abuse. She also reported that he would disappear for days at a time and that he was letting his practice slide. He had spent some time in an institution and had multiple insanity hearings, the last of which was early 1934, around the time victim zero would have been killed. the Lady
Mhm.
of the Lake. He had also been committed to the asylum where Andrassy worked. And a transient named Emil Fronek told police that one night a doctor tried to drug him and take him to his office on Broadway. One of the big mysteries surrounding the Sweeney theory is how he hid all the blood. His office was searched with no evidence of any dismembering, but his office was right next to a funeral home where he had made a deal to practice on unclaimed corpses. And if you remember, one of the bodies found had been embalmed and refrigerated, just like it would be at a funeral home. So he had access to a building where it wouldn't be suspicious for there to be blood draining or dead bodies. And both his office and the funeral home were a short walk from the roaming third. The roaring third. That definitely says roaming. Okay. The
Yeah.
roaring third. Uh, but all of that is circumstantial. A week after Ness destroyed the shantytown, you remember everything stopped. A week after Ness destroyed the shantytown, Sweeney checked himself into a VA facility and the killing ceased, at least the ones considered canonical. Though Sweeney would continue to send taunting, cryptic postcards to Eliot Ness, he also is said to have sent mail to J. Edgar Hoover complaining about Ness, which is not normal behavior.
No.
The Zodiac Killer did very similar things. He was eventually diagnosed with schizophrenia not too long before he died.
Okay. Yep, that tracks. Okay.
So now to take a complete left turn, a letter was received in 1938 after the killing stopped, saying that people could rest easy as the killer had gone to continue his work in California. And there are some people that believe the Mad Butcher is also responsible for the Black Dahlia murder, Elizabeth Short.
Mm.
Which I'm not going to get into, and I'm not saying I agree with it, but just to note their similarities. Her body was mutilated, completely severed at the waist, and drained of blood. And I think that's the thing that people who prescribe to this theory cling to. She had ligature marks and she had chunks of flesh missing. The MO is different enough that I think it's a stretch.
Yeah.
Oh, Shannon. I was like, what is that noise? Just Shannon coming home. It scared me. There are also three victims found in a string of boxcars in Pennsylvania, which Peter Merlo also believed to be the Mad Butcher. And this happened when Sweeney was institutionalized. But like I said, Merlo and Ness never agreed on anything, including who the killer might be. And we've already established that Merlo wanted it to be a person of lower class.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Now, Eliot Ness became super unpopular after his little tantrum burning down the Hooverville. And later that year, he was in an accident because he was driving drunk,
Oh.
Mr. Enforcer of Prohibition. And then he tried to cover up the accident. He got divorced twice. He unsuccessfully ran for mayor. He made some really bad investments and lost his money. Ironically developed a drinking problem. But now he has a beer named after him at the Great Lakes Brewing Company in Cleveland, which is
Yep.
also reportedly haunted by one of the victims. The ghost is supposed to be that of a woman in black, believed to have been murdered on the site. And one of the paranormal investigators on Haunted History said he saw a woman stand up in front of him, then turn to the wall and disappear with an overwhelming feeling of sadness and dread. And some people think she's trying to find Ness to tell him who the killer is. Throwback to the guy after our tour who was so against the Eliot Ness slander.
Yeah.
I That pissed me off. Like, not enough to ruin our trip, but enough to be like, wow, what the fuck, dude?
No, he was a fuck.
He was very condescending about it.
Yeah.
Like, you have built your business on this, you have a beer named after him, but even if you don't buy into it, you need to like play it up a little bit. Come on, guy.
Yeah.
That's one of
Yeah.
your biggest tourist attractions.
Like maybe get over it for 2 seconds.
Yeah. He's probably like a descendant of Eliot Ness or something.
Bro, I don't fucking I doubt that.
He's like taking it all seriously.
Oh my God. He's like just playing devil's advocate or
Yeah.
whatever.
Anyway, he sucked, but we had a great time. Uh, the Great Lakes Brewing Company is great. I
Oh, that was
believe
fun.
I ate some bread pudding there because I always eat
Huh?
bread pudding when we go places.
When we went into the like speakeasy type area like down
Yeah.
below, we sat and
Yes.
yapped for like a while.
The vibes were great.
It was great.
Um, they have a gift shop, which is shockingly affordable.
Yeah. We still have our
Yeah,
glass, our pint glass.
me too.
Um,
And you got a hat too, I think, didn't you?
yeah, which Seth and I share.
Share. Yeah. And
And a magnet, I'm pretty sure,
yeah, I have a
as per
magnet.
usual.
Got the Eliot Ness magnet, of course. Yeah, it was a good time. 10 out of 10 recommend going to the Cleveland. And we did the full brewery tour. They walk you through
Hmm.
like the process of brewing, and you get to go see everything behind the scenes, and you get to taste all the beers that they've got going on,
Yeah.
which was a lot of fun. That was the very first, here's a picture of Hannah drinking. That's what started it all.
Yeah. Oh my God.
That was
It feels so long ago. I mean, it was long ago, I guess.
I think that was 3.5 years ago.
God, yeah, that was a while ago.
It would have
Shit.
been like when we
Whew.
went like February of 2022
Yeah. Yeah.
or 2023.
Was it 2023? I'd have to look back in my Snapchat memories. Hold on.
I gotta look in Time Tree.
Wake up.
February 23? It was 2023.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
'Cause
that was emo night.
uh was that also when emo night was? It was the day after my presentation for ECAS about Mount Rainier.
Yeah.
Was when we left the day after. We sound so happy.
Oh, everybody looks so happy. Ah, good times. Good
Uh,
times.
um, but yeah, we also went to see Eliot Ness's. It's not his grave, but he has like a memorial in the cemetery. So yeah, we have pictures from our Cleveland trip we can post. Obviously, the killer was never caught. It does seem like Sweeney is the most obvious choice there. And I do think that they're not still working forensically to necessarily catch figure out who the murderer was, but they are working forensically to try and identify some of the unidentified victims through DNA, and that's one of the investigations using like the Ancestry 23andMe kind of databases to
Yeah.
compare to find relatives to the victims and figure out who they were. So
Sick as fuck.
it's not dead yet. The case has not been put to rest yet,
Thank God.
which is
Because
good.
it is fucked up.
Yeah, I mean, it's been almost 100
Incredibly
years,
fucked.
and they're still, I think it's nice that it's been 100 years almost, and they're still trying to figure out who these people were.
Yeah. I mean,
It's
it
things like that that
went
give
on
me
for so
hope for
long.
humanity.
It was like, what?
Yeah, 4 years.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's the story of the largest police investigation in Cleveland. Oh, you're so cute.
There's a lot of weird, bad shit that's happened in Cleveland. I mean, you could say that about any metropolitan city, but
Yeah.
I feel like I'm just more aware of it. Um,
Well,
being from near there.
I think it
Oh
also
my
has to
God, you
do with
froze
like,
again.
oh my God.
Well, that concludes this week's broadcast. I hope you've enjoyed it. If you wish to stay in touch, reach out to us at broadcastfromthebelfry@gmail.com or stalk us on Instagram at broadcastfromthebelfry. Again, I hope you've enjoyed our little show. Please rate and review. And until next week, stay spooky.